Now we're going to start with Jamie. Now this is a really uplifting story. Jamie, 9 months after having a brain tumour removed, he's having daily radiotherapy and chemotherapy, but his love of the game is making him smiling. And I think all we can say about this, Kev, is hats off to you, well done, and just keep whacking it.
And how cool is it he's chosen cricket to do that? It is a wonderful sport, it really is, and it brings out all those friendships, it brings out all those emotions. And to see the healthy option being chosen here for someone like that is incredibly special.
Well, Jamie, well done to you.
It's stories like that you wish you could actually be in the backyard with him. You'd love to be able to be in the backyard and throw him some balls or bowl some balls to him, just to make what he's been through that little bit easier, be a little bit more comfortable.
I'll tell you what, Jamie, if your dad's listening, get along to one of the test matches and we'll get you in the zone with Ricky and Kevin. We can throw some balls at
Manchester or the Oval.
Manchester or the Oval. I don't know where Jamie lives, actually. It doesn't say where Jamie lives. Anyway, Dad, that's a challenge for you. Get in contact and we'll get back to you. I think this is brilliant. This is just a little bit of fun. This is Alex, and he would like to know about his son's technique. He says perhaps a little casual.
He fit right into this England team. Hey,
it's sort of the butler sort of scoop, though, isn't it? It's sort of just lay the bat on the floor.
That's Mark Waugh at test training all those years ago. That's the way he used to train.
Right, now this is Charlie. Now Charlie is 3 years old. He's absolutely cricket daft. And we're going to boost the sound on this at the end because he does a little bit of commentary. So here he is whacking it. Shot.
Good shot.
Hold on, be patient. Here comes the commentary. Carlisle Best used to commentate really bad. Steve Smith does something simple, something similar, doesn't he?
We need to get the stump mics turned up a little bit more there so we can hear a little bit louder. You know, it's not unusual to hear Marnus or Smithy say well bowled or good shot or well left or whatever.
You know, it's amazing. We've got Punter's little man in the box with us throughout the test match, and he walks around the box going, no run, no run. And my lad does it as well. Like it's this TikTok world that people live in, and they watch these guys, and these guys are heroes. They follow their heroes.
One thing my young bloke will be doing today, he'll be calling for wickets, not for runs.
Right, now this is Eleanor from Ascot. Now this is her first go at cricket, and she is absolutely mad now and plays with her father and her sisters. Now it's her first go for cricket.
Nice garden.
Nice garden, nice shot.
See the garden, nice shot,
nice
beautiful.
Shot.
And at the end of the day, you saw what happened last night. Full house in Birmingham. The women's game is being really well supported, and she's giving it a smack. I think at that age, teach her to just keep smacking that ball. That's the comfort, that's the fun.
Is she coming as well?
No, I'm going to sign her up.
You're going to sign her up?
Yeah, I'll get her on a management deal and get her at the Delhi women's team over in the IPL.
Yeah,
not far away.
But that's the key point. I mean, at that age, it's just fun, isn't it?
Hit the ball as far as you can.
Just whacking it. Don't get too technical, but if you see something even at that age that is fundamentally maybe going to hold them back, do you say something or just keep the fun levels going?
No, you try and give them all the absolute, the simplest of basics. You know, a lot of times now, little kids especially, they're using equipment that doesn't quite fit. Their bats are a little bit big or their bats are a bit heavy, so that leads to some of the bad habits I think that they pick up early on. But I agree with Kev. Any youngster that I see, I throw on balls, hit the ball as hard as you can, but hit it along the ground all the time and learn to hit it on both sides of the wicket along the ground as hard as you can.
Well, we'll come on to that in due course. There's a few more. Who's next? Zion. Now, where's Zion's story? He's 6, he's from Birmingham, and his dream is to play for England one day, and I reckon that shapes up pretty well. It's a nice setup, isn't it?
Hell of a setup. And from that setup, what you can see there, forget the cricket, what you can see there is the love of cricket. Because there's a small setup there, yet he has made it absolutely perfectly so that he can become the best version of himself with a game that he clearly loves. I mean, look at this setup. I mean, that's proper love for the game of cricket, right?
In all seriousness, I like these boards down here.
Yeah.
It's flat, the ball is... see, a lot of kids, when I see, the ball bounces up here and they struggle with it. Yeah. So if you can keep the bounce to start with a little lower, would that benefit?
Absolutely. Wet the surface as well. That's the other thing you can do. Because it skids on and skids and doesn't bounce quite as much. So especially on concrete, if you can get a tennis ball, take as much fur off the tennis ball as you can, wet the surface, and then it skids on more realistically than what it does otherwise.
Did you used to play in the backyard in the swimming pool? So one end of the swimming pool, and you skim the ball off, and you try and clean your mates up.
Swimming pools in Tasmania?
There weren't many swimming pools in the neighbourhood I grew up in. Let's put it that way.
Pietersen and his swimming pools, right? Okay, this is Jayan, and he is from, where's he from? Chingfold. Now, what do you reckon here? Just throw low full tosses and let him work it out? Does he need to watch the ball a bit longer? What do you think?
In all honesty, exactly what we said a little bit earlier. Try and hit the ball, because as soon as he starts hitting the ball and starts to feel comfortable hitting the ball, then you can work on other stuff, Wardy. Right there, it's just about hitting the ball and actually enjoying that feeling, because it's an incredibly cool feeling smacking that ball.
Now this is his older brother, and he is working on his sweep shot. This is Harry. Now, before we do anything here and play this out,
Grip.
grip. I see a lot of kids do this. The hands are a long way apart. It does work. You know, Faf du Plessis, his hands are quite a long way apart. If you grab the bat punter, if your hands are too far apart, does that limit you in any way? Would you change that or just let him go with it?
Well, to be honest, I try and change it straight away. But as I said earlier, quite often some of these grips that you see are because the bats are too heavy, so they're trying to find a way to make it feel as comfortable as they can in their hands. I mean, if you do that, it feels like you got more control over the bat. You put with a heavy bat, you put your hands together, and the bat becomes even heavier again. So that might be one of the reasons there. David Warner does that as well. I'm not sure how closely you've watched David Warner lately, but his hands are getting wider and wider apart on the handle too. But I mean, the other thing to highlight with him, if you're talking about absolute basics, is have a look at where his head is as well, and his eye line's a long way over. So straight away, you'd want to, if you're picking that to pieces, you can see how his head's leaning over there a little bit.
So he's a bit like that.
Yeah, and his eyes, you see his eyes are across that way. You want his eyes to be level.
So you want a bit more of that over the top.
You want his eyes more level with the ground.
Yeah. Okay. How did you grip the bat? Just a basic grip. What was your grip?
Just the normal grip, the V down the back of the splice.
Because I was told once to pick it up as if you like chopping wood.
Yeah.
Is that a basic way of getting the hands in the right place?
That's about the simplest way to. Well, you're talking about the V's.
Yeah, just the V's down the back.
Yeah,
of the
see,
bat.
even that's interesting. So Kev's talking about having the V's more down the edge of the bat. And what you're saying is we were sort of taught to have the V's more down the spine of the bat. So I think for kids, about there is about right. And then the more that they get advanced and are learning from T20 cricket now with trying to find areas on the ground to score, I'm a believer now in the T20 cricket grabbing it that way.
Really?
Big time. Absolutely.
So you think about the way bowlers bowl at the end. If they're bowling wide Yorkers and you're gripping the bat like that,
You know what that grip does?
So easy to slice.
It opens up all the field. I've just gone here now and I've picked the bat up like Punters just said and how you've just said. I'm standing there now. How are you hitting a ball through the offside and opening up the offside? And to become a 360 player, you have to be able to hit the ball all the way around. I don't know which camera am I on there. I'm on this one here. How am I? I mean, if you've got a bat, you pick up your bat like that, try and open and feel how sore your arm is here. Whereas you do this here, it's comfort. It's all of that.
Okay. Well, let's have an analytical look at the sweep shot. What do you reckon?
don't ask me about a sweep. Actually, he didn't play it much better than me either.
Well, he'd have been the other way around. Mark Trescothick said to me about playing the sweep shot, he was a fantastic sweeper. I eventually got to be able to play it because Tres coached me, basically. He said get low. But the key to the normal basic sweep shot is to get low.
I would also say that against spinners, it can be a go-to shot if you're not picking the delivery, but I would say practice playing spin off the back foot and practice being the best you can be off the back foot, because the sweep shot brings in LBWs, front foot LBWs, the new DRS system, and I know it doesn't really count at this age, but at a young age, if you can really train your brain to be playing off the back foot, much better than sweeping.
Now, this is Flynn, 8 years old. He's working on getting his feet moving, his head towards the ball. How important is that?
No, it is. And we had this conversation with James Foster, didn't we, about his keeping. Is it the head that leads the feet, or is it feet that leads the head? I'm a believer. I mean, your head's the heaviest part of your body. So if you start moving with your head, then your foot obviously has to follow. So for this young fellow, what did you say his name was? Flynn?
Flynn, yeah.
Yes, just start by taking your head towards the ball as far as you can. Your foot will then follow. Then you can play the ball underneath your eyes. And the other thing I saw with him there as well is when he's driving, he could have a little bit more flex through his front knee, bend his front knee a little bit more. And by doing that, that actually allows you to get your weight through the shot a little bit better. If you try and drive with a straight leg, see how his legs straightening out there? Yeah. If you can just bend his knee a little bit more, if you bend your knee, then it's obviously easy to take your head closer to the ball.
Okay, I say kiss the ball. I always said it when I was batting, kiss the ball. I coach all the kids, kiss the ball. Go try and get to that ball, because like Punter says, head heaviest part of the body. You go and try and get into that ball. You find the ball, your legs move, your knees bend, everything happens. Right,
Gus is pretty happy with his cover drive, but he wants to be able to access the leg side a bit more. So there's his cover drive, so he gets into the ball. Gets a little bit sort of stuck when it comes in tight.
crosses his feet over. You watch where his back foot goes straight away. His back foot actually goes outside leg stump immediately, and then his front foot goes across to the offside. So he's actually crossing his feet over. Watch here. Back, yeah, that's okay when you're playing through the offside. Watch the leg side as well. His back foot goes to the same spot, and look where his front leg ends up. So he goes this way, this leg goes across here, then he ends up working across that front pad. That's when you're going to get into real trouble doing that. So what he needs to do is open up his front foot. He actually wants to be pointing his front toe to the line of where the ball's coming from, not out to cover.
Okay, he's also holding the bat quite wide apart.
The thing about kids at that age, and I'm going through it with my son at the moment, he's actually just coming through it now. Playing the ball through the leg side is all about fear, actually. They're really worried about the ball hitting them on the inside of the leg or missing it and getting hurt. So when you conquer that little bit of fear and get hit a few times, it actually becomes easier to drill the technique.
I like this one. Charlie has a net session, and at the end of the net session, he always spends 10 or 20 minutes playing T20 mode. Do you like that? So you learn
yes.
practice the basics for the first bit, at the end, have some fun, and work out some different shots.
I mean, look at these England players now. Root ramping third ball of the first test match. Sorry, first ball of the third test match on the third day. This is where the game of cricket's going, and Ponting offers big IPL contracts, so playing it well.
He's offered one to a 7-year-old just a minute ago.
Skill acquisition, that's what it's all about, right? It's a skill acquisition. I'm talking about that young guy practicing reverse sweep. You find ways to get better every day.
Sanjay's 10-year-old son, I love the setup with the bowling machine. What are your thoughts, Ricky, on his head position?
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was actually saying about the last kid that was crossing his feet over. Watch what he does here. He doesn't do that. Look how open he is with his front foot. He's actually pointing his foot down the wicket to give himself access to hit the ball. The only thing I would pick to pieces there with him is that grip and that really closed bat face. Watch when he picks the bat up. The bat's really closed and shut down, which, like Kev was saying then, it's okay when you're hitting the ball on the leg side. It makes it really hard to hit the ball on the offside with a closed bat face.
Right. Thank you for everyone that sent the videos in. Again, I'm just going to go back to Jamie, who's had a pretty tough time of it. Brain tumour removed, daily radiotherapy, chemotherapy. He's whacking the ball in the garden. As I say, Jamie, an open invitation. Come to one of the test matches. You're at Manchester in the Oval for the next one.
Yep.
Ricky, myself, Kev, or whoever will take you in the nets and we'll let you whack some balls. Absolutely. How about that?